Hello and good evening, and welcome to a special edition of The Truth Behind the Truth. My goodness, we decided today to come before you just for a few minutes tonight to, to talk about the disappointment, to talk about the shock. But honestly, it wasn't really a shock. Of course, we've got President Biden, up in front of us. And so we're going to talk about him and Kamala Harris just for a few minutes tonight. But we wanted collectively to see what you guys' opinions are and how you're feeling about this immediate change. But most of us knew that it was going to occur.
Not really.
Well, I don't know. I kind of had it.
Not so sudden. We just knew that people were,
implying
that he should.
Right.
We even sat here yesterday and said that he might not because, Darnell put out there that, this was his hypothesis that his wife, if she wasn't concerned, then there was not going to be any reason of him leaving. So, it is a big kind of a shock. It's like what Donna Washington said, what a difference a day makes.
What a difference a day makes. I know that's the truth. So, I mean, the truth behind the truth.
Yeah.
I really do. I didn't have a whole lot of discussion with her. You and I were talking about it more than anything. Today I mentioned it for a few people at work, and they were like, "Oh, okay," but that's the political platform that we are, because these are the type of people that, they be lined up to go in internment camps to Donald Trump and still won't know they wouldn't even know what's going on then. So
hey, that's the
climate that they choose to the narrative, I should say, that they choose to believe in. Okay, well, the rest of us ain't gonna let that happen. All right, by no means are we gonna allow that to happen. So I mean, whether it is witnessing it or getting out of this country and allowing it to happen for them, they won't stay here. But my take on this is that I'm gonna say this. All right, love President Biden. I think that he has served America to the best of his greatest ability, and I honestly think that there had been a decline in his health. Okay. I think that it has been seen, or unseen, for a period of time. And for me, just even watching him, I mean, can't really be honest. I'm not surprised, because I gotta say, I've seen this. It looked like his health had been going down, over the past year, and I'm wondering if he was just in the thought of, or his people around him, kind of thought that, he could ride this thing out and not do a whole lot of public, press tour, public appearances, and that, because he kind of believed the press hype about Donald Trump, and thinking that, half of America was not for him, and that he could probably win the election kind of silently, or either put Vice President Harris out there and let her do the bidding, and kind of bring things back to his direction, talk about his accomplishments, and all of the other governors and different ones that are doing so at this point. So I think in the days to come that we will get an essence as to what has happened, and where everything is going with that.
Well, I was watching this show, that Funky Dineva, the person you don't care too much for, but Amanda Seals was on there, and they were talking about Project 2025 and educating their followers on what it is and what it's going to be if Trump gets in. But she said this, and it put in perspective that the American people really don't have that much of a say when it boils down to who they would want, or if the person that wanting to be president is willing to stay in or to step aside.
Right.
Because from what I have figured out and what I've been seeing is that the Democrats, they have donors, they have people who give out the money to those who are running. But they had, in the midst of all of this going on since the first debate, they've been having these meetings behind closed doors about the fact that is he able to keep going? Is he able to keep running? And they've been having these meetings and everything, and you know what? It really puts in perspective for me that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter unless you are investing and putting money behind these people, what is going to happen.
Right.
And I think, I hate to say this, but it's almost like they're not really running this country for us. The business, the money people are running this scenario or the scheme of what's going on behind the scenes. And we, as the average American, working class American, who don't really have that much of a say in what's going on, we are kind of left out in the wind of what's really happening. And it's really, I'm not trying to say that we are not important, even though it seems like I am implying that we are not important, but it does put in perspective that what Darnell said yesterday, you can keep talking and talking, but if you're not beating the ground, if you're not doing the work, you're just talking. And that is what's going on right now with those who are implying that Kamala, she shouldn't be the nominee. Well, how do you know?
Right.
I mean, there, and I don't know Kamala. Like, all I know of her is that she's been working as a prosecutor, especially in the state of California, and she's been doing, some work. I think she wasn't. Let me do my research. But she's been around for some time.
Yes, she has.
But to be honest with you, a lot of people don't trust this woman, which I'm starting to realize, wow, I did not know she didn't have the trust of the people that support or have been supporting Biden.
Right.
So I'm kind of like, wow, this is an interesting
scenario, I guess,
awakening for me.
Right.
Because I did not know she didn't have that type of trust.
Well, truth behind the truth is, and then I think that, one thing about elections and, and things of that nature, that people's past always seems to come to the light, and what they've done in a different light or whatever the case may be comes to pass.
Oh, yeah.
And so from the African American community, she did not have the best reputation. Okay. And many of them were, very reluctant about President Biden at the time selecting her as his, running mate, right? He knew that he had to have a woman, in order to make sure that he would get the favor that he was seeking, in that regard. Oh, but then the conversation came around Stacey Abrams, and they thought Stacey Abrams would have been a great candidate for him. But then they started saying, well, she wasn't experienced enough to be on a national level. Okay,
which I doubt. I don't like that, because she's been working in the community as a community organizer and getting people and activists. That tells me that something about that that's what makes people not want to do or run or get involved, because there are those naysayers that are out there. Well, absolutely. I don't think you have the name. I don't think you have the wherewithal to get people to organize and pool money and pool donors. That's the problem I've been saying since I've been paying attention to this thing called elections and finding candidates. I think big donors need to step away, but you cannot stop them,
right?
Because businesses want to know who is going to represent them too,
right?
Especially when it boils down to them trying to pull the one over on the little man,
right?
People like us who work for these companies and these corporations, they don't want to protect us. They don't want regulations to protect us. They barely want us to make a livable wage,
right?
Or to get full blown benefits, which we now know is part of the manifesto of the 2025 or the Project 2025 or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
These people don't want us to have any type of equality or up, So I'm just saying, it's just it's not. I just feel like at the end of the day, they need to step aside and let the people get involved. But that's too
Well, but then you're talking about a total reform of how the
yes,
system is, and what
basically,
having and getting
yes,
the people involved, which really should be happening. Now, one of the things that Donald Trump banked on, well, during his first time, was that he was going to drain the swamp. That was his big selling
he
point.
didn't drain too much
No,
of it
because he got violent. He jumped right in the swamp and got just as vile as everybody else that was in there. So that was another lie that came out, with him, and it was, it was very sad that happened. Okay, but people jumped on board because here's the thing. Americans are really tired. I mean, and that's on both sides. At the end of the day, Democratic side as well as the Republican side. Problem is that the Republicans, because of the controlling nature that they have been operating in for eons, okay, they found that this man was at a place where everything he was saying was kind of speaking to them on a level that they weren't able to bring to light, okay, because it's seemingly that the liberals were washing out the conservative idea. So question is that what is conservative and what is liberal? Okay, and I'm gonna drive a point here while we're talking about what is liberal and what is good. So, because liberal is that I guess that we've been labeled that we allow any and everything to happen. Okay, there's no boundaries.
And we're very progressive,
and we're progressive in what matter. What is progressive? What is that? Because you want to see everybody's society be successful. If you want to see everybody in
not
society
successful, but have a standing in this world that we're able to not. I think success, yes, but having the capabilities of getting up, let's just say it's not getting up, but being somewhere in the midst of being successful. I want to say that, let's just say about the program, the affirmative action program.
Okay.
Now that was created for the simple fact of African Americans or women or whoever you were to at least get a chance, to have a chance to get into rooms that we were never supposed to be a part of. Those rooms that were considered only for white men. And in the scheme of it, it was working, but then somebody found a loophole, and it didn't just and they did it was. Is now kaput. It's not. There's nowhere to be found anymore. But to be progressive, I think, is to give each and every American a chance at the American dream. Other than being a conservative who likes the status quo, who believes that the status quo needs to exist to put certain things and certain people in their place. And then on top of that, conservatives like to pat themselves on the back for being financially responsible.
Let me say this real quick. Darnell is watching. Darnell, if you want to join us,
join us, Darnell. We're having this conversation.
There's a link that's sent to you to go ahead.
But they like to pat themselves on the back for trying to keep the debt ceiling down and all this other stuff, even though when they're in there, it explodes for some strange reason, which we all know that they send a lot of money. They put a lot of money into the military. That's one thing I know Republicans love to do, other than putting money into trying to help the elders, the sick and the sick at least, and those who are trying to build a dream. Because that's not what they believe. They don't believe in handouts. They believe in you pulling yourself up from the bootstraps, which we know in their situation, they believe that nepotism is the best of all things. They rather give a job to somebody whose daddy had a job at the same place for 15 to 30 to 40 years. And then if that makes sense, and then their son comes by. That's what they believe. And that's not America. That's not America to some of us who are trying and who are working, who are striving to be successful and to have a chance at the American dream. And I think, to be honest with you, I'm more progressive because I want that chance. And I hate to say it, I see it when I hear it from certain conservatives who don't think that, well, we don't, like you say, like you were just saying, that you are qualified. And it could be because your hair don't look the way we would want it to look, or you don't, you're not, you know, we just don't have it in it for your culture to be coming through here and changing up things. You know, we like things to be squeaky, clean, American, whatever you might want to call American, because I think that's coded for just being white only.
Right. Okay.
So it's just the fact that I don't trust conservatives with their branding of what they're trying to push, whatever agenda they're trying to push. So I could, you know, at the end of the day, I will say I am either a little bit of independent, but more Democrat.
Well, yeah, you know, and maybe just for the sake of the possibility and the conversation that we're having, you know, right now, it maybe you can, you know, elaborate just on real briefly on the historical standpoint of how how African Americans were basically in the line of being one of the first Republicans that there were, and how that, you know, got dismissed, and so there's a little bit more clarity about that, you know. So let's just get just a real brief background on, you know, where that comes from. You know what I mean?
Well,
but while you're looking it up, I know you wanted to, you know, go ahead and explain that. So here's the thing, you know, what has happened with the Republican side? Of course, it has become the Republican, true Republican, has become a non-existence at this time because it's become Trumplicans. Okay, and these Trumplicans have created this whole different narrative or a different party, which we talked about on yesterday's show. They created a different party. You know, they've created what has been said for the longest period of time. Well, we really want to have a different group that is not like the status quo, that are not like the norm. And so what they have actually did is they've done that. Now, it's not to the benefit of the majority of Americans, because what they've done is they've combined principles that they don't even live up to this particular party. And what has surfaced out of it is a lot of racial misogyny, a racist misogyny that has come through it. Yeah. Because what has happened, that Donald Trump has opened the pathway, you know, being honest, yes, but he's not an honest person, so therefore lies have been the whole thing has been perpetuated anyway. That's like I got elected in the first place. What lies, and told lies for 4 years, or 26,000 of them, you know, on record. So we're really honestly just a mixed bag of problems right now, you know. And unfortunately, by President Biden stepping back, you know, I think this is opening up another pathway of a problem that the U.S. has in general. Okay, not so much on a political platform, but it is majorly. But it shows that how divided this country is in terms of its understanding and where that understanding should be dealt with. You know, yes. But go ahead and give that quick explanation of where it came from, and then we'll go. Because we're not going to talk till all night.
Why? Ask that question one more time.
Oh, just roughly about the involvement of the Black or African American people, how they evolved from being Republicans and what they were originally in this country.
Well, we all know that Black people always refer to the Republican Party as the party of Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was the reason that, you know, the Civil War broke out and we were free.
Right.
And after, you know,
well, according to Juneteenth, that happened. Anyway, that's not story.
That too. But you know, after Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, and you know, then come a slew of presidents, we were always going to support the Republican Party because of what they had did for us. But it took until Lyndon Johnson, when the Civil Rights Movement was going on. Things changed. You know, things were getting integrated. Schools were being integrated. We had finally got the Civil Rights Bill. Then we had the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And Lyndon B. Johnson was a Democrat. You know, and then there were policies that were geared towards, you know, now we hear these Pan-African leaders, you know, activists saying that, you know, the reason why the Black families were broken up, it was because of the policies that Lyndon B. Johnson put out there, like some of the welfare policies and all that stuff dealing with, you know, keeping the Black man out of the home and giving welfare to the Black woman. See, and that was a situation that you probably could speak to because you lived during that time.
Oh, I said I'm old.
I'm old enough to know. But then after all of that success of equality and stuff, that all that stuff that was going on in the midst of all of this that was going on in the 60s with the civil rights movement and all that, the Republicans decided to start the Southern Strategy. Okay. The Southern Strategy was a push to get Southern whites to come over to the Republican Party who originally voted Democrat, who were Democrat, because of the Democrats were Southern lobbyists and Southern politicians from the South before all of that.
Members of the Ku Klux Klan.
That too. They were and then you had the Dixiecrats too, that everybody seemed to forget. There were Dixiecrats as well. But then the Southern Strategy happened with Goldwater, Nixon. They promoted it. They pushed the agenda and got those white Southerners who were once Democrats over to the Republican Party, because the Southern Strategy was the manifesto for whites who did not like the advancement of Negroes, who really was looking for a push against the civil rights success and all that. They looked for that to happen through Nixon. Nixon was what is really Trump's mentor. Trump always says he loves President Jackson, Andrew Jackson. His favorite president is Andrew Jackson, but he looks up to Richard Nixon. He loves Richard Nixon to death. And also his policies and the way he maneuvers reminds you of Nixon. The corruption and all of that's going on was... I thought Hitler. Well, yeah, it is. Well, I mean, he wants to be a dictator. He's looking up the Hitler blueprint. But Nixon is his favorite president. And to be honest with you, Nixon was the first to push this Project 2025. People don't understand Project 2025 was started around 1973, around all of this Southern Strategy, and it was written by only a few of the minority of the party, a minority of a group of white men, rich white men who had all the time in the world to think about these ideas. But then, as the years progressed, and Nixon, what happened to Nixon with Watergate, Reagan comes stepping in. And and sure enough, all the ideas that Nixon was trying to push, Reagan successfully pushed. Crime bills and all this stuff but then that is what got us away from the Republican Party, was the agenda of making it out, the Southern Strategy, making whites who did not like the success that Martin Luther King had during the 60s, advancing the Negro and also advancing integration. They didn't like it. So that is what really happened. It was a policy change, a policy switch up during towards the end of the 60s and early 70s. So I think that's why, to this day, I sort of scratch my head to those blacks who are still Republican, because how can you support a party now and then who thought that law and order, not the law and order over them, but the law and order over you, was more important than the equality of advancing you and making you better, making you a better citizen, making you feel like you was part of the American fabric. My thing is, I don't trust anybody who would tell me to my face that you're not the typical American that I would believe in to hold down this nation. You could, to be honest with you, you could listen to the rhetoric around Obama when he was president. We don't trust this man. He's not even from this country. He's from the state of Hawaii, but that's not really part of America. Like, what is that? That sounds stupid. Well, it was stupid. And it was stupid. But guess who was pushing the birther movement? Trump. Trump, along with the Tea Party, there was Trump's birther movement, because Trump did not like the fact that Obama, a black man who he did not believe should be running not only a business, but a country. And this is my thing. Trump had black business friends, but Trump didn't care what the money was coming from, as long as he could get black money. It doesn't matter if he had friends or black friends or associates. He loves money. He loves power. He loves greed. Money has no color, but it does to some people.
Yes, it does.
It does. Black money sometimes is not for. It's great to have black money given to you, but it's not the be all end all.
It's not. And thank you for articulating all of that. That
the Southern strategy. Look it up, people. Southern strategy.
And that's something we always say about here on the Truth Behind the Truth, because we really try to educate you on what the historical standpoint of view, but how things seem to be paralleling as to what we are experiencing once again. Now, where does these two things coincide with what has just taken place today? I think that's the $10,000 question we were trying to figure out tonight. I want to be delicate about what we're talking about, but not delicate to the point that we're just drawing some.
Let's not be delicate. That's
what I mean delicate. I'm not. I don't want to.
Let's not be delicate.
I want to be compassionate about what's being said, but at the same time, we've got to identify the fact that this country is in a mixed bag of tricks. Right now, and as I started out saying, it's on both sides. So the solution that or offers of opportunity is going to be on the forefront, coming from the Truth Behind the Truth at the end of the day. Whether we have come up with a solution tonight or next week on the show, or the future shows that are going to be out there. And I'm encouraging you guys to stay in tune with us, okay, to make sure that you find the truth behind the truth and the solutions that are going on right now. Now, I will say to our credit that let's take it off just what we're talking about just for a minute. The Donald Trump incident that happened a week ago when the mosquito hit him in the ear, and the pack of ketchup that he had in his hand splattered across his face. God. Okay, so you could say I predicted it. I thought it was a little bit bigger than a mosquito. When I predicted it last year, so I was gonna give it a wasp or a bee or something along the lines of that nature. But and I did say last year, I said there would be an attempt on Donald Trump's life. Okay, during the course of the election period. Okay, you can go back and research the shows if you don't want to believe it, but I did say it. Okay. So to my surprise, not to my surprise, when this event happened, when the mosquito flew by, I, said, okay, well, here it is. Okay. So I'm going to be careful to say that when privately we were having a conversation about President Biden, I did say that I did not anticipate him making it through this entire election period. And I did not expect this at this particular point in time. I did not expect it. However, but it was in coincide of what the information that I'm saying that the Truth Behind the Truth is privy to the downloads from our great creator to this universe. Now, you can make a decision or not to listen and follow, which so many of you have. I see you coming on and cutting off. Oh my God, they're talking about the election, they're talking about Biden, they're talking about coming. You need to pay the freaking attention, okay, as to what is coming across this show. Okay, some of y'all come on here, they ain't got enough likes. They don't have enough people following them. You know what? Sometimes the least of the followers are the ones that are the greatest among you. Okay. I ain't gonna get in there. It is Sunday though, ain't it? All right. Yes, it so is. I ain't gonna talk about. I ain't. Yeah, happy Sunday, because I'm not gonna get into Jesus' ministry. How half the folk that was around him didn't follow him. Only the few did.
That's right.
All right. And
most of them were women.
Okay. Thank you. So and the ones that followed him found out the truth behind the truth. The ones that didn't, that was criticized, and it didn't stay postured in place to hear the information, they lost out. Okay, so it's your choice, is yours. Okay, we are here every week. We've been here every week for 4 years and 3/4. We're gonna be on hiatus at 2 weeks in August. Okay, and we're gonna be right back here for season 5, kicking off in September. I'm expecting all of y'all to hear this. YouTube, Facebook, every little platform that we're on. I'm gonna get back on point because this is our PSA moment. All right, to start chiming in. Okay, to start sharing and submitting these shows, okay, if you want to have your ass informed. Now, if you don't want to be informed and you go through this election period blindsided, okay, and then wonder, you wake up the next morning and possibly the wrong person is in office, don't say we didn't tell your ass. Okay, beer, bottom line, all right? So let me get back on point now that I made the PSA moment out here, all right? So back on point. So, I was, we have been talking collective. We talk about this stuff all the time. That's why we want to bring this stuff to your information and the rest of our team. I was shocked about President Biden. I'm calling him Biden and Obama at the same time. President Biden. I was shocked. Okay, but I have been watching his behaviors over the past year. Okay, And as I started out this conversation we were having today, I saw a decline in his health.
Okay.
I saw a decline in his health. Okay. I was taken the same way as everybody else during the debate. I said there was a very low performance. There were times where the camera caught him in very odd positions. Okay. And I was like, there's something wrong. Okay. There is something wrong here. Okay. Now, medically, I mean, no, I'm not the medical specialist. I mean, of course, they're only going to let out what they feel is necessary to believe at the time, because this man was on stage continue being your president until, or wanting to be president thereafter. Okay, I get it. However, I am glad that the truth behind the truth has come out today. Okay, I am glad that he has decided to give up the reins to whomever is going to take it. Now, right now, it is a push for Vice President, get everybody mixed up, Vice President Harris to take the reins and move forward. Okay, we took a pause, a moment here, to share where this whole gamut of thing politically, Democrat versus Republican. I want to give you guys a background on why African Americans had leaned more, becoming more Democrat and what have you. Now, I didn't get to a chance to explore that in a different level because all this conservative and all this stuff is a bunch of crap. Because we talked about that yesterday on the show, how all y'all conservatives was up in where was it, in Milwaukee, getting on Grindr. Was it Grindr? Getting on Grindr, getting y'all groove on, while y'all was in town, and it's all out there about what y'all did. Okay, but that's another story. We don't get in that. So anyway, so let's bring it to the point about talking about Vice President Harris. Okay, it was said in many conversations that they did not feel that that President Biden made a great choice in a running mate. Okay, he made a choice because of a commitment that he made during the time when he was getting prepared for that. He said it would be a woman, and he said it would be a woman of color. Okay, now as we stated earlier, a lot of people said it should have been Stacey Abrams. Okay, they looked at Stacey Abrams, and then they chose not to go with Stacey Abrams, okay, because of her commitment to a certain community, which is the LGBT community, okay, and coming out of Atlanta and coming out what this country was looking at in terms of the LGBT community. But that's a whole nother conversation we can't get into today. So they kept looking, because Stacey Abrams would have been bombed, okay, because one thing about her, she'd have pushed President Biden right on out there in the front, okay, and said, look, you got to get your ass going because we got to get these people voting. Okay, and she turned the state of Georgia purple. And she turned the state of Georgia purple, guys, all right, in her efforts to get President Biden, why keep you saying President Biden? President Biden elected, okay? So, in my opinion, she would have probably been a great opportunity to be out there. But popular on all sides of the spectrum, maybe not, all right? But then that's, again, another point of the story. So let's go back to Vice President Harris, okay? So the information came out about Vice President Harris doing is that of what she did in Northern California when she was a district attorney. So there was a push of the African American side to say, you know what, she's not right for the African American community. She was not pure black like President Biden, what President Obama was. And I mean, we get into all of these narratives that has nothing to do with the quality and the substance of the person can bring to the table at the end of the day. So, but her track record wasn't one that was very supportive of the African American man in that particular, because she was the highest prosecutor of putting African American men in jail in that area. So what they felt is that she was not a good candidate based upon her record in the criminal justice system. Okay, but they let it pass. She got promoted to that particular point, and here she stands as a potential president of the United States. All right. So my thing is just like, I'm hoping that what was said is not a part of the psyche.
Well, let me play this for you.
Okay. I'm hoping that it is. I know you're going to play. I'm hoping that it's not part of the psyche that was said. All right. Because we in some big shit, if that's the truth. okay, behind the truth. And I know y'all listen to this and y'all gonna share it. Yes, I'm saying it, but I'm saying it for information purpose. Now, I would much rather have Vice President Harris than that clown that's trying to get in the office. All right, but at the same time, I'm looking like, okay, our governor Gavin Newsom. A lot of y'all in California don't like it, but I'm telling you that man put some money in your pocket out here in California. He put a hell of a lot of money in your pocket, okay, during COVID. All right, so and all those other things. Now, anyway, that's another conversation because I don't want to go all over the place tonight because there's a lot of information out here. But go ahead, what's your point?
But
what was being said? Play this real quick.
This rhetoric situation that is so dangerous to me. It's dangerous. I'm gonna play this, y'all. This is the most ignorant thing I've ever heard in my life. This is from this fool called Charleston White, who's he's famous off of his social media crap that he be putting out. But I'm gonna play this right quick.
Okay, go ahead.
And they got me fucked up. I wouldn't dare vote for no black bitch. Now, listen, I was raised by black women. I got a grandmother. I got black sisters. But I wouldn't dare put no black woman in no motherfucking position of the White House. The commander-in-chief of the military, a black woman. Not only that, a mixed black bitch married to a white man. Her pH balance is way off with that white dick. Man, you can't make me believe.
Wow.
Hell no. Man, Kamala Harris got a white boy. Her pH balance is off, and her mental stability got to be off. A hoe would have thrown off pH balance unless she's sneaking and fucking a nigga. Now, if she's sneaking and fucking a nigga, then we might can let her be vice president. But there's no way. America. I'd rather for black people to go back to slavery than let a black woman run this goddamn country. Don't do it. Jay, listen, man.
There you go.
Now, that is the most complete. Wow.
There you go. Did you hear what he said?
I heard it. Let me try to get my response out.
You're going to send back to slavery, right?
I cannot believe that someone has stooped that habitually low, okay, and ever would put something like that out there on social media platform about a woman of color.
And he a black man too at best.
Well, that ain't no black man. That ain't no black. That's that. I'm gonna say this way. That ain't no black man.
Black.
No, I understand that, but what
I know what you're saying, but he black.
But
because we do that to each other every day.
This is my point.
We do that to each other every day. What you're trying to, what he just did, we do that to each other every day.
You said that. You just duped. What he just duped.
I'm just saying.
Duped the whole system. He just duped the whole goddamn system. I can't say that word on there.
I know, but what
he just completely duped the whole system. Okay, and it's sad that we have that level of stupidity that's walking the streets from California to Atlanta to New York to New Jersey to Michigan to over there on Grinder in Wisconsin and everywhere else. That level of stupidity is out here. So for that very reason alone, Vice President Harris, you got my vote. Okay, you got my vote because that's the type of asshole that needs to be locked up. Okay, that's the type of asshole that needs to be locked up. Okay, and put up under the jail and stay there for a while until he's repented of his stupidity. Because I don't know where this man came from. I don't know where his stupidity of life came from. His ignorance. How ignorant can you be? And then what he just said is that he discredited his mama, his sister, his daddy, his ancestors, everybody that went through Juneteenth, okay? Everybody that went through all of that. I'm being funny about the Juneteenth, but went through that. You know what I'm saying? I'm complete. You know what? We want to cut this show short tonight because I feel like cussing right now.
Well, I just want to say this.
I feel like cussing right now.
That right there was no surprise. That was no surprise. You know what? To be honest with you, and the situation with the rhetoric about she's not a true African American or black. God. I was thinking about the time when Obama was president, and we realized that he was a mixed race. But he wasn't of the black from the descendants of slaves. He was a kin and mixed with a white Caucasian blood. My thing is, you hear this rhetoric now that we don't think Kamala should be president because she's not going to do nothing for the African American community because she's African American and she's Indian, and that's going to be an issue. And my thing is that it's not an issue. I think now you have become the issue. You have now taken the place of your oppressor, or you know what I'm trying to get at, of your oppressor now, because of the simple fact that now you feel like because she is not one of you, she doesn't. Wait a minute, hold on. She don't speak your language. She doesn't believe. Yeah, she doesn't believe in the ideology of being ignorant. Then she's not of your persuasion. She's not what you would think that a black woman should be. Number one, that right there is voting for Trump. Black men of that type of caliber of talking and putting out stuff like that, they're voting for Trump because they don't know themselves. They might not vote. They don't. Half of them don't vote at all anyway, and
most of them probably don't know how to vote. All they know how to do.
But the saddest thing about it is that they will vote for Trump. They will put themselves back in bondage because they don't want a black woman to hold office. That right there is so sad.
That mentality. All they know how to do is to try to find some woman to fuck. And create another baby.
You can't blame anybody else for that. You can't blame the white man for that.
No.
You can't blame
because this is the bullshit that you want to sit in damn barbershops and listen to and discredit and talk about. Barbershop talk. You don't sit around and talk about sports and fucking women all day long. That's all the mentality that you have going back and forth about that. This is ridiculous, and especially now. I got to bring this to an end because I'm upset because start getting on black men. These no good, trifling, low down, fuckers.
But let's talk about let's get off the men. Let's talk about the women. There are some women that won't support Kamala because they don't think that a woman can handle the job of a man's job of being president. That right there is very shocking too. The misogyny and the racism, along with the ageism that was. And my thing is, how can you sit back and tell somebody that they're not able to do what you think they cannot do?
You feel like you ain't able to do
that. You're not able to do. You need to suck out the imposter syndrome out of yourself and wake the F up. Because what you have now given away is your power to somebody who is really at this point. They say he is.
Isn't that a regular practice? Are they not giving our power all the damn time? That's why there is absolutely no control. We gave away our power to this nation Juneteenth. We gave away our power to the nation. You thought it was great. You wanted to celebrate information coming back to you at the last minute. Wonder why everything comes to you at the last damn minute. Because you don't bother to educate yourself. You don't bother to pay attention to the truth behind the truth. This is the truth. But we just told you some information. And I bet you 90% of y'all go, they ain't talking about nothing that I don't want. They ain't clap, clap, clapping, clap, clap, clapping. They ain't doing all that. They ain't clap, 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 clapping. They ain't flicking fingernails. They ain't got the hair in red, and they ain't twerking over somebody's ass and somebody's little dick and all this type of stuff. Wait to flick up because y'all about to lose it, baby. Y'all about to lose it. And you don't realize it. Which is so. This is what you got to do. Clap, 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 clap. I got my nails. I got my eyelashes. Can't keep my eyes up because they're so damn long. Wake the hell up, y'all, and stop this shit. Come on. Anyway, we'll get off of here because we on here way longer than we planned to be tonight. And went in a couple of directions. But the main thing tonight, we came on tonight because we wanted to, let me calm down. Basically wanted to share in the moment about what we feel is possibly where things are going, with the decision of President Biden to step down. Now, I'm sure that different things will be revealed over the next week, few days, or whatever. Maybe by the end of next week, we may know something differently. We are down to 100 days. But the main thing, everybody, is that you don't want Donald Trump in office just like anybody else don't want Donald Trump in office, If you will sit up and allow a man that in first term had lied to you 26,000 times on record and is still lying during the debate, lying yesterday, lying this morning, lying when he got up, and sure enough lied to Stormy Daniels when he fucked her.
A mess.
So
but it's not Trump alone. It's the Heritage Foundation. It's the David Duke Group.
David Duke. Go ahead.
It's everybody from anything that the Southern Poverty Organization has deemed as a radical terrorist group within these United States. And it's not, and there are no blacks. It's mostly white, radical, right-wing groups that are now who are going to run this country if he gets in there.
Right.
And the Heritage Foundation, a minority of few rich people, rich men, white men to be exact, see the need now to put their ideology into practice when this man gets in. Let's talk about what's going to happen. Privatizing public education, getting rid of Medicaid, getting rid of disability, getting rid of everything that's guaranteed to help you get over the hump. Then on top of that, let's talk about the fact that it's going to be a states' rights bill. Remember when Arizona put out that law saying, they put out the abortion law, and it was the most radical abortion law that has ever been put in place as law in any state within these United States. Even Trump said himself, that law is too brutal for my taste. But I wash my hands of the notion because of the fact that I don't live in Arizona, and Arizona's not my problem. Whatever Arizona votes for, that is law. My hands will be forever washed of anything dealing with any states. That's giving white radical racists the green light to say, well, if he gets in, that means the federal government will not be protecting any and everybody. Now we have full power to make laws that is guaranteed to put people back and in servitude, second class, whatever you want to call apartheid, Jim Crow places, because it's going to happen. Trump he's going to disband the federal government that we know of and make states' rights, states, the most powerful thing that for anybody, African American, women, gay, whoever that is deemed of second class and not of a white man, I'm sorry, your place would be behind closed doors in hiding, because the states, they're going to be ruling the roost. And that's not really a good thing when you have situations I'm so sorry, when you have situations where people could be likely killed for the color of their skin, and there is nobody to back them up.
See, and I know we got to bring this.
I know we got to bring it to a close.
This is the severity of wanting not to pay attention to what's going on. It's a severe issue.
I'm awoke. I'm awoke. Okay. And I ain't afraid to say I'm woke. I am awoke because I know what's going to happen. Well, listen, it's long time. This is the American. This is your choice. Right. This is what you want for your country. And I hate to say it though, if you cared enough, if you are willing enough to keep things the way they are, and for you to have the freedom like us to complain on a platform like this, without being complaining. To some people we are complaining. But to be honest with you, to complain and not feel like somebody is absolutely going to put us in jail or kill us the next, you better wake up to what's going to happen, because there will be a government shift and a government change. This ain't no fear monger. It's out here. It's out in the public in black and white. And basically, it's already on tape, because you have the Heritage Foundation people who Clarence Thomas' wife is a part of. Wow.
Say that for next show.
Oh yes, we might as well save that one.
So as we are bringing this impromptu show to the night of the discussion, and we were kind of in different perspectives, but this is basically how the mixed bag of tricks that are going on, because you got people on every spectrum of life right now, and that don't know for their ass from the hole in the ground for most parts. All right. So we'll be back here next week on our regular showtime, but we just felt like that it was an impromptu, time to come on tonight and just kind of share some thoughts and drop some seed out there. But as we do go, we want to say to this man, thank you, President Biden, for a job well done. We realize that it has not been done on the terms of the way most people have seen that wanted to see things, and I think that's a very selfish position for them to realize that, because you came in and you took care of this country in a time when it was at a desperate need.
Yeah.
and you pulled us out of a COVID situation. Yeah, maybe I didn't feel like you did it right. Okay, but who does it all right? At the end of the day. Thank you for your service.
And let's end it like this.
I wish you well, in terms of all. But go ahead.
Let's end it like this.
Okay.
This is Jennifer Lewis. Let's see what she's talking about.
Okay. I'm gonna leave this picture up, guys.
Today. And let me tell you what Auntie's got to say. I got something I want to yell. My dream team is Kamala and Michelle. Ring the bell, ring the bell.
Yes.
Oh my
Kamala
God.
Michelle.
Yeah, Kamala Michelle. I know what I can. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And like I said, we're just leaving President Biden up here, just as we end tonight. We will see you back here on Truth Behind the Truth next Saturday. Okay. If we're not here Saturday, we'll be here Sunday because there may be a change in schedule, but we told you that last night about it. But thanks for taking out the time. This was an impromptu, and we salute, President Biden, for what you've done, here in America.
All right.
And we wish you well and with speedy recovery in your health. And, maybe you can support, our new President Harris.
All right.
In a way that she needs it. All right. We'll see you guys next week on The Truth Behind the